We're back in the garden today and I'm finally going to plant out my tomatoes and a few of the other bits that I showed you in the last video. It is a scorcher of a day today. It's 18 degrees. I can barely focus on you there in the camera, but it's absolutely beautiful. Like, it really feels like summer today. So I'm going to pop these out because they are really dying to get out of this pot. I've been hardening them off for, I'd say, about the week now. I've been popping them out every morning, and then I kind of left them out for the last 4 or 5 days roughly out here all day with no protection on them. And then just because of the night times, it's just got a little bit cooler. Even yesterday evening it was about 8 degrees at night. I just popped the cloche then over the top of them just to give them a little bit of extra protection in the evening. So I think maybe tonight I'll check the temperatures, but it's so hot today, it's like 18 degrees, so they should be fine. I'm going to check the evening temperatures, and then if it's below 10 degrees or so, I'll pop a little cloche over them once they're in the ground. But I'll show you them now. They're dying to get out of this little pot, and they are so dying to get out of that pot. So really strong roots, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick off these leaves and I'm going to bury them probably up to about here. They can be planted really deep. They grow roots, or like there's little fibres that are along the stem, and they'll grow roots the whole way through if you bury them deep. So I'll just take off the leaves and yeah, plant them about that deep into the ground. So I'll probably have to measure this bed now. Let me just measure this bed and see how many we can actually fit in here. I upgraded my tape measure as well because it now retracts, because that other one was a nightmare to roll in and out. This bed is just under 4 foot, so probably plant these. I plant things quite close together, but I try and give everything as much space as possible. So I'm just going to put a little marker of where I can plant these. And these are indeterminate tomatoes, so they'll keep growing and growing and growing. And then I'll just pinch out the tops so that it can then set the fruit and the flowers afterwards. So I think I can get in, yeah, one, and then from there. Come over and show you those. So here's the tomato, and then what I'll do is I'll take off all these leaves here up to about here, and I'm going to bury this whole thing, so from the bottom here right the way up to here, and I'm going to take on everything down below beneath that. But you see, they've really desperate to get out of that pot now. So yeah, so that's my lovely tomatoes. They look a bit dry as well, but it's just been so warm and they're in such a small pot. I'll have to give them a good soak as well. And I'm going to pop in some manure into each of the holes that I make up as well, just to give them a little bit of a kind of slow release feed throughout their growing. But I might put some on the top midway through just to see how they go on. And yeah, I just can't get over how hot it is today. So lovely. So nice. Yeah, and then what I might do is, I've really enjoyed getting the crop of spinach over there, so what I really want to do is to put in some more spinach. So I know it's getting closer to kind of heating up temperatures, and spinach doesn't really like it being that warm, but what I'm thinking is if I direct sow some in and around the tomatoes, and as the tomatoes grow up, it'll act as kind of a canopy and a shade then for the spinach that's underneath. And then I'll get like a second crop from the same space, and I get more spinach. Because I definitely didn't think I would have loved it as much as I did, and I really wished I'd sown more now. So this is just a test to see does it work. Everything's a test in this garden. So yeah, I'm gonna pop those in now. And it just dawned on me, actually, I haven't actually shown you the kind of the full growing space here. So I might give you a little whiz round, kind of all the main beds, and show you what's in them, because everything's really looking really pretty now, especially the salad that we did last week. So nice. Yeah, just so chuffed. It's so nice. I finished college yesterday. I did my final hand up, so it's like so nice to actually just be able to be in the garden, like guilt free, and get on with planting up and getting things in the ground and just having a bit more free time. I go back in September, but you know, at least I'll get a few months off to be potting around and growing all the fruits and the veggies. So yeah, and the birds are in full swing today. But yeah, hopefully this weather's to stay now as well. It'll be really, really nice. So I'm gonna get on now. So I have gone down like almost a trowel length. I do actually go down quite far. I did this last year and it worked perfectly. I buried them so deep. They'll look like, I mean, they look big now, but when they go in, they're going to look about this big. But it just creates the base of a really sturdy plant. So like that, I'm just going to pick off these lower leaves like that. These will grow suckers as well, these will. So you need to make sure that you pinch those out. I mean, some people can keep them, but just to get a better plant and to get good fruit off of the trusses that do grow. I'll do that to all of them. And then I'm going to put a handful of manure. This is the Westlands organic chicken manure. I'll put a handful of that in. Well, a trowelful, because I don't want to stick my hand in there today. The dog's going to go mad for that. And then what I might do, oh, covered up my hole. What I might do is I might water in the holes as well, because the wind got it. I might water in the hole, because there's been nothing in this bed. I mean, it did rain horrendously yesterday, but still feels a little bit dry. I'm just mixing in that manure at the bottom, just so when the plants go in, it doesn't burn the plant. And then just get my watering can, and I'm just going to pre-soak the holes, just because the root balls on those are really dry. And that'll be lovely, and it's a bit warm. So in it goes. I really can't wait. Like that. And I'll give them a good water in afterwards as well. And then we just do the same with the other three. I might take this one out first, because this, do you know what? I do not recommend these trays. I see so many people with these trays and they are just so not worth it. Like, they come in a pack like this, and I thought, oh, that's too big, and they're a bit flimsy. Like, you can see they fall in on each other, so when you pick stuff up, it kind of wobbles everywhere. But like, I cut them, and then obviously the flaps come off. But I just think something that's a bit sturdier, like these, they're sturdier, you know? These are useless. Don't waste your money on them. So, but because they were still sort of semi-usable, I didn't want to throw them out as a weed. That is definitely a sunflower. Okay, pick off my few leaves. There's not as many on that one, so I'm only going to take a few off that one, because that one's slightly smaller. And like that, just bury her in. Bury her as if it's, oh, what am I like? They'll have names before the end of the year, you know that. I'll let you know if I name it and what name I give it. Are they straight? Okay. Then, one more. So good to get these in the ground. The seed shuffle was getting a little bit onerous the last few days, especially with college deadlines, and everything was kind of, they were too tall for the pots, the lids I had over them, and that one, the hole's closed up. Right, let's pop you in there. Lovely job. Don't bury your rose for your hose. And then there we are, 3 gorgeous tomato plants. So happy they're out now. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some spinach in between. Let's take all these leaves off. I have my little dibber. That's another tip actually for the garden, guys. This is a knitting needle and it works as a perfect dibber. So you don't need to be going out buying all this expensive stuff. So what I'm going to do, where's my spinach? Oh, it's in my back pocket. So let's hoist up my trousers. This spinach is the same that's in that bed. So it's called Samish F1, versatile for salads and cooked. And you can sow it. Actually, it says you can sow it up until September. So maybe it won't bolt in the summer. It is an F1 variety, so that might be why. Interesting. We'll see. Maybe it won't bolt. So they can go like 4 to 6 inches apart. So I'm just going to do, literally, like, I swear, I'm going to do like the whole bed. Just this half, because I'm going to put some more tomatoes in here and here. If you saw my reel on Instagram, I did a late sowing of 2 different types of tomatoes. I did a salad tomato called Later, and it's supposed to grow in 40 to 50 days. Well, 40 to 50 days to maturity, but I think that's once it's germinated. So it's in the house. It's been sown about a week now. So I'm going to put one of those there, and then I'm going to put, there's another variety. It's kind of that one that's like, kind of the sort of like ribbed, kind of large sort of beef steak tomatoes, and that's like a bush variety, so it's a determinant variety, so it'll only get like to a determined height. I won't need to pinch it out, and I won't take any suckers off of that, and I'll put that one in here, possibly. Or if they don't germinate, then I'll backfill everything with cherry tomatoes instead, because I have about 10 of those. So yeah, oh, they look so beautiful. So now I'm just going to go around this one definitely needs a water, every 4 to 6 sort of inches, and I'm just going to make a bed of spinach basically underneath this. I didn't know how well it was going to take off, and I feel like this bed has been sitting here all of this time, and like there's been nothing in it other than sunflower seeds dropping in, and I just feel like had I done it in March, I could have had a whole extra crop before the tomatoes went in. So it's maybe an idea for next year to do that. But then I'm thinking, already starting thinking about winter. I mean, not even in summer yet. I'm trying to squeeze as much into this space as I can. And I'm thinking, like, I might start off some winter onion seeds and then put all the winter onions in here. And then by this time next year, I'd have pulled all the winter onions out, and then the tomatoes can go in. But then the Tesco's delivery man came the other day, and he was admiring my potatoes over here, and he also said to me that you have to rotate everything. So he did say to me every 2 years, but I don't actually know. Maybe I need to think about moving these to a different bed next year. Now, in fairness, I have moved them already. This is the first year in this bed. They were in that bed, the way the salad is last year. So we're okay for this year, and maybe next year if 2 years is the rule of thumb. Be super cool. So yeah, direct sowing the spinach. I backfilled some of the spinach where it got eaten by slugs. I've seen so many people on social media with like epic harvests of slugs and snails, and then I didn't have that much trouble with them. But apparently they are drawn to wood chip, so I'm kind of surprised at that because all of our footpaths are wood chip. So yeah, get an extra crop of spinach, that'd be lovely. I was so proud of myself the other day. I took it into work, you know. There's only 2 little leaves of spinach. I was so delighted when I opened my little lunchbox and I made a little toastie with it, a little cheese, spinach and spring onion toastie. So that's the main things actually that we've been harvesting so far this spring is onions, spring onions, spinach. The little gem is taken off. I actually need to pick one of those later on when I take you around the garden. Bit of rocket actually, the rocket's picked up yesterday. I picked one of those yesterday and it was lovely. It's not like spiky edged rocket, so kind of looks a bit more like a weed, but it's definitely, I can confirm it is definitely rocket. I had a bit yesterday. Me and my boyfriend tried some and he was telling me, he goes, that's not rocket. It does look like a weed, I'll show you in a bit, but it was definitely rocket and it was lovely. So I'm going to pick some of that for our dinner tonight, and we'll plant out a few bits as well in a bit. We'll put the cucumber in and we'll put the squash in. So I have to figure out the nicest cucumber to put in because there's 9. I'm so glad I sowed more than I did. I know I was telling you that I sowed 10 and 9 germinated. Well, I only came out the other day doing the seed shuffle and they dropped on the floor. They all dropped on the floor. Couldn't believe it. I nearly cried. That was typical. I was trying to get out of the house to get into work and I wanted to get the plants out, you know, so they could get the most sunlight. And like that, doing too many things at once. And Klutz is really my second name, or first name, shall I say. And now, just give those a good water in. I'll have to keep an eye on the moisture levels now in here as well. Now that I've direct sowed it, it gets so hot, like this gets sun all day. So if the sun stays like this, the very top level of this will dry out. So I'll have to just keep an eye on that just until the spinach seeds pop through. Well, even if they do, because they only have a shallow root system anyway. So yeah, that's my tomatoes. They're the red cherry that I showed you in the last video. And hopefully I'll have some more little plants to show you in a couple of weeks when they've germinated. And yeah, let's head over to the bed at the back. Okay, so we're back to the skinny bed, as I like to call it. So I've just flipped you around, and we're going to plant out a cucumber, just the one. I know I have a few extra, but one might die or something. I'm going to plant out one of these, and look how lovely they're looking. One of them's got a bit of leaf curl on it. Oh, that's why it's got a chump on it. It's not actually leaf curl. Someone's taken a bite out of it. So I'm going to plant out one of these, probably the strongest looking one. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to plant it at the back here, and I'm going to grow it up this wall. I have some circular bamboo canes that I might get out from inside and pop them in to support it. But what it will do is it will grow up here and it will cover all this wall, and it will look so nice in the summer. And yeah, so same technique really as the peppers. I'm just going to dig a hole, stick a bit of manure into it, pop the strongest one of the seedlings in, and away it goes. And what else I have here as well, just to bring in the pollinators, is a salvia. So this was a plant that I had in the bed last year. I dug it out. I didn't know whether it was going to come back to life this year. One of the girls in the garden centre was telling me that they're quite tender. So I was not sure whether it was going to come back. But it did, and it's come back probably double the size. So I had 3. All 3 of them have come back. I'm really happy now because there's 2 purple and there's 1 white. So I'm not sure what colour this is. But I'm going to pop it in here because the bees absolutely love this plant. They absolutely love it so much, and it's a perennial. It comes back every year, hopefully. So, which one will I pick out? I think maybe this one looks the strongest. And what I'll do is I'll keep a couple on hand. I might pop them up, and if this one doesn't survive, then I have a couple more to pop in afterwards. And whatever ones I don't use, I will donate to my mother, or I will bring into work, because there's a few little green fingered friends there as well. So I'm going to pop that in, and they look so lovely. I'm going to plant it towards the back of the wall so it has a bit of protection and kind of a bit of a guide. So that's the cucumber in, the tomatoes are in, salvia's been planted, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant some of the patty pan. But what I've decided to do is change the structure of this bed. So I want to move the salad crops down, because it gets so much sun in the summer. I don't want anything to bolt, and this half, you can see this half of the bed from here, that way gets shaded from about midday onwards. So what I'll do is I will harvest the lettuce because it's ready to go. I'll show you that. Harvest the spinach because that's ready to go. I've been picking off loads of that anyway, so it's only kind of scraggly bits left. I've been picking every sort of 2-3 days, and then I'm going to plant quite densely the patty pans. There's 4 in here. I'm going to plant them in up there. So that's what we're going to do now.
Problems. I would never thought that you could be causing these problems. It smells so bright with eyes like these diamonds. Caution. I know I should have known. Right now you're not alone. I don't wanna get in trouble.
Job done. So I'm going to leave it there for today, and I'm going to plant out some more little gem down the end, but you've seen me do that a few times now. So yeah, we'll catch up in the next one.